Welcome to the Women of Fort Mill, South Carolina. I'm Kelly, mom of 2 teenagers, serial entrepreneur, and lover of all things that inspire and empower women. After years of supporting women on their journeys, I'm thrilled to be here to spotlight the powerhouse women who make Fort Mill so special.
And I'm Leah, mom of a very busy toddler and your go-to financial guru for making sense of money and planning for the future. I absolutely love helping women feel confident in their finances. And together, Kelly and I are here to connect you with the stories, tips, and insights that can help you thrive personally and professionally.
Every week, we're inviting you to join us for a quick 20-minute chat with local female business owners, women who are really changing the game here in Fort Mill.
You'll walk away with new ideas, practical advice, and a deeper connection to the community. Whether you're seeking motivation, actionable tips to grow your business, or just a bit of solidarity and the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, you're in the right place.
This is the Women of Fort Mill, South Carolina. Let's dive in and meet the incredible women here in our community.
Good morning, Women of Fort Mill. We are so excited to feature today's guest, Jamie Shook. She is an award-winning photographer. We are grateful to her because she has taken beautiful photos for the podcast, which you all will start to see coming out. But we really want to unpack more of what makes Jamie unique. She has an amazing story, incredible background, and so much skill and talent that she brings to the work that she does. So, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, so excited. Let's just dive in. So you have been in business, Vintage Daisy Photography, since 2012. So I love that longevity that you have, and you have earned local and international recognition. But let's first start out at what really inspired you to start Vintage Daisy Photography, and over time, how has your vision evolved since 2012, and really what inspired you to get it started?
So I actually began my career in marketing, and I worked for, I'd say probably 12, 13 years. I worked for a couple different corporations doing product marketing and communications. And I loved it for a long time. But then I reached a point where I grew weary of the corporate grind, if you will. I had young kids at the time. Both of my boys were 5 and 7, and I really wanted to spend more time with them. And I sort of started losing my passion for what I was doing and wanted to work for myself, doing something that was just meaningful. And so that's really the driver behind what pushed me to jump into the deep end, if you will. As far as why photography, I was thinking, okay, well, what am I good at? What could I sell? What could I make a business out of? And I knew that I enjoyed photography. I was photographing my boys all the time. Loved photographing people. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not bad at this. Let's try it. And so I just dove in. And the rest is history, I guess. As far as how it's evolved, when I started my business, it was exclusively natural light. So I worked with kids and families a lot doing outdoor natural light work. And over time, I wanted to expand as an artist, wanted to grow and start working with artificial light. So now I offer both studio as well as outdoor sessions. I also have expanded my portfolio over time, just wanting the creative challenge, I guess you could say. So I do weddings and events now. I also work with several commercial clients and do a variety of portraiture work from newborns all the way up to maternity and senior portraits, definitely families and children still.
Well, you've had quite a career, and I think the marketing background ties perfectly into what you do because so many people that you work with, whether it's on the commercial side or branding or headshots or, some of the pictures that we've done with you, there's so much to be said for having an eye for the right shot because in an age where we all have these great new iPhones that have all the filters, it's easy for people to feel like I can catch these pictures myself, but there's something that you can't duplicate if you don't have this gift as a photographer, at least from what I've seen in all the photo shoots that I've done throughout my life. So what would you say helps you in your gifts and your abilities to really capture these moments, both for families, especially with kids? I've seen some of your children's photos and they are incredible. We all know children are a little hard to capture those moments. What would you say that you bring to photo shoots that helps these photos come to life? What is your unique gift that you bring to these shoots?
Wow, that's actually a really good question. I think if we're talking about the children specifically and some of those images that I've earned awards for, it's getting at their level. And it's not something that just happened overnight. I've always been good working with kids, and so that certainly helps. My background just working with people in general and the business type of environment has helped. But more than anything, I think it's getting at the level of the children or even people, adults. It's making that connection. Once the connection is made, it's a lot easier, I think, to find those magical moments. But it is a moment. So some of my best images, I will be honest, if you were to look at the behind the scenes, they're not necessarily something that is magical from start to finish. There's moments in there. You've got to be ready to capture it and know what you're looking for and quick on the fly.
I love that because now we've done a photo shoot with you. I love the idea of just catching the natural moments. And I can only imagine the images that I have seen of your work, the fun that you can have with the younger children and just really capturing the special moments. And I know you've talked some about like those sessions. And I know because of knowing your business, it's very custom tailored, right? Your experiences from the start to the finish are really all about, there's not one size fits all. It's all about the custom work. Just walk us through, because I know there is listeners that are, really wanting something different with their next family photography shoot or the next event that they have coming up. So share what a typical client journey looks like and kind of how you, Jamie, ensure that each experience is very meaningful to that specific client.
Yeah, absolutely. My business, I will say it's evolved over time. I didn't start out doing full service photography. It's grown into that. But my journey where it's at right now, basically a client will book a session with me. And from there, we schedule an in-person design consultation, and they can be done remote, but I try to do them in person mostly because I feel like there's a connection and something that you get out of that you're not going to get otherwise. And it allows me really to get to know who I'm going to be photographing. So we take that time just to discuss the shoot itself, what they're looking for. Some people know exactly what they're after. Others need a little bit of help designing, and I'm all about that. Either way is perfectly fine. I love the creativity of helping somebody design something, but I also think it's cool to work with people that have a vision. So we use that time just to craft it unique to them from start to finish. If they want to add on professional hair and makeup, that's an option. So is wardrobe. Those are things that we talk about. I walk through my product catalog and share samples of everything so they know what all of the options are in terms of displaying their imagery. And so it's really from start to finish, it's just walking through the entire process, what to expect, giving them all of the ins and outs of what's available to them, and walking away with a game plan so that way when we show up on site, everything's smooth. It's turnkey, I guess you could say, and it's fun. More than anything, I want them to have an experience that they walk away with, that, they're excited about and ultimately want to come back and do it again.
So Jamie, I'm going to throw something at you that I didn't tell you beforehand, but I think it will resonate with a lot of people because we all have these moments of immense joy in our lives or seasons of joy, and catching pictures from that season is wonderful to go back on those memories. But then on the opposite side, we, whether it's grandparents or just different relatives or friends, family, whatever it is that we want to remember them by. I'm thinking of one of my uncles just passed away, and in the mail, I got a bunch of pictures from my dad of my uncle and I throughout all of the years. And I just thought, what, this is so meaningful. I had forgotten about a lot of those pictures, but it made me realize sometimes it feels like it's a lot of hard work when you have a family to get together, like, oh my gosh, let's get our kids and go plan this photo shoot. But what have you experienced from working with all different kinds of people as far as the meaning that these photos really have to a family or an individual? And it can be on either side, family or business. But what have you seen in your experiences? What people feel when they get these photos back, and what value they really associate with them once they have them?
I think that inevitably once people end up on location and go through the process, I've had several tell me that, that actually was worth it. I enjoyed myself. It was a lot of work leading up to, but we had fun. It's a good memory. And then when we do the reveal session, which that's something that I didn't mention about the process, is that I actually do an in-person reveal as well. And so clients will be able to view their gallery for the first time, and then I take their order. So during those reveal sessions, that's really meaningful for me because that's the time where I get to see the emotion and how they really feel, where you miss that if it's emailed, and people are reviewing it on their own. I don't get that same experience personally. So I enjoy that and just watching the excitement because a lot of times people don't know what they look like. It's like we see ourselves in a mirror, we go about life, but then when you actually see this put together situation and then real authentic expression captured by the camera and the emotion amongst the family, for example, it means a lot to people. I've had clients come back to me. Actually, I had one that reached out a couple years after the fact wanting to order additional prints because they had a family member that had passed away. And so those images were even more valuable to them at that point. So I think there's just a lot to be said about pushing through and making it happen. It can be a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I know having teenage daughters, I look back at the work that was put into the professional photography, but seeing it now and seeing like the growth and it's just, you remember those memories, right? And it's not just about the memory of the photo shoot. It's about the ages and the memories that flood back when they were that size, especially for kids.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about investing in listeners, it's 2025, right? People are really looking, okay, we've got the summer coming up. You've got the holiday season. People think about the timing of professional photography and it's investing, right? I mean, some people do professional photography every year. Some people do it every few years. When people are thinking about investing in professional photography, what are 2 or 3 tips that you can share with our listeners for them really to get the most out of their experience when they're going into this photo shoot?
Yeah, sure. I think first and foremost, it's a matter of establishing what kind of experience you're looking for, because there's a lot of variance out there and there's a lot of people that do photography and it varies from one end to the other in terms of the amount of time spent with the client. So it's really like, do you want something that's quick and easy in and out, or do you want more of a full service experience, which is what I offer? I recognize that not everybody's going to be my ideal client. And so it's really a matter of, I'd say, figure out what you want, what kind of experience you want, and then also spend some time researching people's work because you want to make sure that you like what it is that you see in their portfolio. You'd be surprised how many people don't necessarily do that research ahead of time. And I know you said 2 tips, but I'm going to throw a third one in there. The other aspect would be maybe having a conversation with them ahead of time and making sure there's a connection, because it's going to come out more authentically if you connect with your photographer. Like if you end up on site with somebody that you're not jiving with, that can make things awkward. And then it's going to translate into more awkward photos.
Those are such good tips. And you're right, that connection, which Kelly and I have talked about this so many times, where sometimes when you meet someone, you don't even have to have a long conversation with them. You just feel the energy and you're like, you're my person, so even having a brief phone conversation, I think will help people know who the right fit for them is. And every photographer that I've seen has their own style, whether it's with lighting or their editing style, and those can be drastically different. Those are such great tips. And I think it's typically the women that are wanting to capture these pictures. So it's the, women that are searching for photographers and wanting to find a good fit for them or their family. As we wrap up here, we know that there are so many ways that people can see your work, get connected to you. They can go online at vintagedaisyphotography.com. Would you say website is the best way to reach out to you, or what are your preferred methods for connecting?
If you go to the website, you can see a little bit of information about me, and there's also a contact form there. So you can't fail by going that route. You can also check out my socials. So I'm on Facebook and on Instagram, it's Vintage Daisy Photography. So I've got a little bit more current work on my social media sites. So it would be worth checking those out if you want to see some of the more recent work.
And ladies, just as a reminder, you can choose a location for Jamie to meet you at. But Jamie, you also have a studio, which is great because depending on weather, sometimes it's safer to go indoors. So whether it's studio or outdoor, plenty of options. I know Kelly and I can speak to the work that Jamie has done and just the great communication and follow up and making sure that she truly captured our vision. We can speak from experience in saying she's truly fantastic. And Jamie, we can't wait to have more sessions with you. You'll be seeing a lot of her work come out through Women of Fort Mill podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to learn more, get the latest news, tips, resources from all of our guests, make sure to give us a follow, like, subscribe wherever you listen, share it with a friend, share the podcast with another woman that you know would receive value. Kelly, let's wrap up by sharing the different ways that they can connect with us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jamie, so much. You guys, you can check out the show notes and we will have all the ways to connect with Jamie in the show notes, her website, her social links. She will also be featured right here on Women of Fort Mill podcasts on the newsletter and the social media. So great ways to connect with Jamie for yourself or share her business with a friend, Vintage Daisy Photography. And we want to keep in touch with you as well. Leah and I are so excited to be launching and have launched Women of Fort Mill podcast, and how you can keep up with all the incredible women we will be bringing to you in 2025 is to follow us on Instagram, follow us and give us a 5-star review right here wherever you are listening. And then make sure you head over to Instagram and check out the link in our bio, and you can subscribe to the weekly newsletter where you will get all the updates about each individual female entrepreneur, Fort Mill person, all of our nonprofits that we're going to be bringing to you. And if you yourself would like to be a guest or a sponsor, there is also an application. We would love to hear from you. We would love to feature you, your business, and let the women of Fort Mill know how incredible you are, just like Jamie's. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you for tuning in to Women of Fort Mill, South Carolina. We love bringing you the stories of these incredible women, and we hope you're walking away with a little extra inspiration every week. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to rate and review us wherever you listen. It helps us reach more amazing women like you and grow our supportive community.
And for all the latest updates, tips, and behind-the-scenes fun, make sure to follow us over on Instagram, Women of Fort Mill Podcast, and tag us to share what inspires you each week. Plus, join our email list to stay connected, be the very first to know about the new episodes and fun events. Thanks for being a part of our Fort Mill family. We'll see you next week with another inspiring woman right here at Women of Fort Mill Podcast.